We have 3 people were transported by life flight helicopter. We have 5 fatalities at the scene.
A deadly crash in the East County tonight. CHP is searching for the impatient driver who triggered it all.
Welcome everyone to Discover This. Today we got kind of a sad, tragic story about a motorcycle club called the Saddletramps and a horrific accident that happened out in the middle of the Imperial County desert in California. So please check it out.
1, 2, 3, 4.
On November 13th, 2010, the Saddletramps MC from Lakeside, California gathered at President Carl Smith's house. Smith is known as Coyote, and he operates Coyote's tires out of his shop at his house over here. That's his business, and he does a lot for the motorcycle community. Once everyone was ready, they got on their bikes and headed east. This was a run for their 10-year anniversary as a club. They were headed to a casino in far eastern Imperial County near the Colorado River. The plan was to stay off the main freeway, Interstate 8, as much as possible and take the backcountry roads and highways. And this is where they were headed, out here to Winter Haven, California, this casino amongst the sand dunes and very close to the Colorado River. And around the town of Jacumba, the Saddletramps had to get on Interstate 8. The backcountry roads and highways kind of ran out. So they had to get on the highway, the freeway actually, and take this road as it transitions down from the mountain down to the desert. They take this serpentine highway down. It's kind of a fun ride, unless the wind's blowing pretty good. Took the Highway 98 exit. And this would be their road out towards the Colorado River. pack was riding in a kind of a staggered formation as they cruised along this highway. and at some point they noticed that there was a car coming up behind them, a gold Honda Civic, and it was looking like that car wanted to pass the pack of 12 or so bikes. When they got to this general area, the Honda Civic started to pass the bikes. Unfortunately, coming westbound was a white Dodge Avenger. The white Dodge swerved to the right shoulder over there to avoid the Honda, and when the driver of the Dodge tried to correct and get back onto the paved highway, he overcorrected and he went straight into the pack of motorcycles. He missed the first two bikes, but drove right into the others, sending bodies into the air and even one bike into the air. When everything was settled, there were bikes, parts, and bodies all over the road. Carl Smith and his wife, one of the first bikes who didn't get hit, saw the Honda Civic slow down but then accelerate and take off. Smith stopped his bike and ran back to his brothers and sisters. Two of his brothers and one of their wives were already dead. Another female was in bad shape, and Carl Smith started CPR, but she passed away. So there were 4 dead from the Saddletramps, plus multiple others injured, from broken bones to collapsed lungs and major road rash. In the Dodge Avenger, there was a boyfriend and girlfriend. The girlfriend was dead, and the boyfriend was injured severely. The first call to 911 came into CHP dispatch at 12:55 p.m. The first officer on scene arrived at 1:13 p.m. according to dispatch records. That officer immediately called for reinforcements. The scene was horrendous. More CHP arrived, along with Imperial County Sheriff's deputies, Border Patrol, and Bureau of Land Management Rangers. 2 Life Flight helicopters responded and took 2 of the more injured to hospitals in San Diego. 4 ambulances took the other injured to a hospital in El Centro, California. The dead were later identified as Amy and Lance Heath, Tonya Trayer, and Bill Bigfoot Miller. The woman in the Dodge Avenger was identified as Ana Gonzalez, an attorney for the state of Baja California, Mexico. When the authorities finally pulled Ana Gonzalez's body from the wreckage a couple hours after the fact, they found she was holding a Chihuahua puppy, and that puppy was still alive.
This morning in Imperial County, where a search is underway for the driver who triggered a horrific crash that has killed 5 people, 4 of them members of a Lakeside motorcycle club. It happened yesterday afternoon about 1 o'clock on State Route 98, 7 miles east of Ocotillo, a few miles from the Mexican border. A highway patrol says the driver of a gold Honda Accord heading east tried to pass a group of bikers on the 2-lane desert highway by going into the westbound lane. Now that forced an oncoming car to lose control and slam into those bikers. The CHP says the Honda then just kept on going. 2 men and 2 women on motorcycles were killed, as was a passenger in the other car.
In this particular instance, it appears the motorcycles were just out for a leisure drive, and somebody in a subject in a car, did something wrong, began to pass at an unsafe location, and it kind of triggered the whole chain of events.
6 other people were also hurt. The CHP says the bikers were members of the Lakeside Saddletramps Club. This photo is taken from the club's website. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary this year.
Now, the boyfriend driving the Dodge Avenger was eventually arrested for DUI. However, he was not arrested for causing the accident. That was on the Honda Civic that never stopped. Law enforcement tried to locate that Honda Civic, even checking cameras at the border crossing at Calexico that went into Mexico, just to see if the car went south after the accident. That car and driver were never found, but you could see Off in the distance there, at the bottom of that mountain, the border fence between the United States and Mexico. So that's how close we are to Mexico, where this accident scene was. Aftermath of the accident, while many of the riders were still recovering, the Saddletramps hosted a blood drive for their injured members and also to replenish what had been used from the blood bank. There was a large turnout from the motorcycle community for this blood drive. There was also a large celebration of life held at the Renegade Bar in El Cajon, with another large turnout from the motorcycle community. Donations were accepted. You know, there were funerals to plan. These Saddletramps members were just blue-collar, working-class folks who liked to ride motorcycles. So all the donations helped. Another celebration of life for Bigfoot Miller was held at a later date. And what was an anniversary ride has now turned into an annual memorial ride. Now, the accident happened right in this general area of Highway 98. And at one time there was a memorial marker right around in here somewhere. Doesn't seem to be here anymore. But there's photos. But what a sad, tragic day. Horrible. Didn't need to happen. That's the worst part. It didn't have to happen. So that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this story about the Saddletramps MC and that horrific day. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you checking it out. And all you drivers of cars, please watch out for motorcycles. Until next time.